Hey everybody, Jeppy here, and welcome to another operator lore video. Today's video will be featuring the extremely badass and resilient operator Nomad. Now we'll be talking about her wealthy childhood, her literal extreme sense of adventure, what it was like to train underneath Kaid at the fortress, and why she had to cut off 2 of her fingers, and much more. If you're new here, I'm Sir Jeppy, and I love the lore of Rainbow Six Siege. If you're someone who likes the lore of Siege too, then make sure to subscribe with notifications and check out my operator lore playlist where I've already made a ton of lore videos. Alright, now with all that out of the way, make sure to leave a like and let's get right into Nomad's adventure-packed lore. So Nomad's real name was actually Sanay El Maktoub, and she was born into a really wealthy family on July 27th in the city of Marrakesh in Morocco. Okay guys, so I'm going to be straight up with you all. All of you already know that I truly suck at pronouncing foreign words to me, so I'm just getting ready for the comments telling me how bad I suck at it. I'm just waiting for them. Well, moving on, we see that Sanay really didn't want to be the generic rich kid that does nothing but mooch off of her parents' wealth. Now, in Callie's lore, a video I've already made, is pretty much the same thing as well, where she wanted to make a name for herself too, not just mooch off of her parents' wealth. But Nomad did everything she can to distance herself from the norms of the rich kid. In fact, we only really see her utilize her parents' wealth only once in her lore, but that comes later in the video, just be ready for that. Nomad felt like her privileged childhood would fuel a personal desire of hers to do everything and everything her parents didn't do. And apparently, they never traveled. From an early age, she dreamed of conquering every continent on Earth and surpassing every limit the human body can take. Now, even when she was younger, like not even graduated school younger, she would take off and start exploring the world. Now, she first visited some pretty popular and urban areas first, like the streets and cities of Europe, along with the North African regions as well. But Nomad truly wanted to feel like she personally had to survive the elements and use her knowledge of the lands and survival to live and, well, explore. So she started dreaming about what it would be like to conquering super remote and rural areas of Earth as well. Moving on though, she would graduate school, and at only 19 years old, she would enlist into the military. After some initial training, she would join the, oh boy, here's some big words coming up, guys. Pray for me on this one. Nomad would join the Groupe d'Intervention de la Gendarmerie Royale, or the GIGR for short. Yeah, I like the abbreviation much better. I probably butchered the shit out of that name, to be honest. Well, Nomad would actually go on to train underneath the wise and powerful Kaid at the legendary fortress that he is the leader of. Now, I want to save as much details about the fortress as I possibly can for when we do a Kaid lore video, but I'll get a little into it for Nomads. While Kaid was the leader of the fortress, he would oversee all the rigorous training of Morocco's elite soldiers, and he did not accept failure and would cut no corners for people who couldn't complete the training. Nomad's sheer determination and the training she does for her body to help better herself helped her excel in the program, and she ended up graduating from the fortress underneath Kaid's watch. Progressing quickly from one division to the next, she stayed with the Mountain Infantry Battalion for a whopping 4 tours. Nomad and the battalion would spend 4 tours taking part in the flintlock experiences and performing joint operations with the Trans-Saharan Counterterrorism Initiate. Now, briefly, this counterterrorism unit is mainly funded by the United States government, along with the help of both local civil and military agencies. And now there are still a lot of terrible and honestly inhumane atrocities happening in the North African territories, and that's why this was started. Now, with the US Congress approving $500 million to kickstart the program, along with countries like Algeria, Chad, Mali, Mauritania, ooh, that was a weird one, Morocco, Niger, Senegal, Nigeria, and Tunisia, they've been doing everything they can together to help combat the terrorism in these North African regions. And circling back to Nomad's lore, she was her unit's expert on environmental operations for the entire 4 tours. Now, between her whopping 4 tours with the GIGR, she would venture out into the world while her unit was waiting for their next assignment in between tours. Now, she would utilize this time to quickly become one of, if not the best and most highly experienced rural survivalist in the entire world. So now would undertake solo expeditions in the most extreme places Earth has to offer. She is one of the only people who can walk across the Sahara Desert. She climbs the inhospitable Alps mountains, trekked through Asia's rainforest, and literally walked along the Arctic Circle. All that in between grueling tours with her unit in North Africa. She would be gone for an extended period of time, then one day just walk back into the base as if nothing happened. Now, of course, she would tell stories of her adventures with her unit, but she mostly documented everything she did in her notebook. Now, Nomad was actually an avid journalist, and when she wasn't actively moving around exploring, she was documenting her experiences in the journal. Rain or shine, blistering deserts, or frigid polar climates, Nomad can venture through really all of it. Except she did have an accident that almost cost Nomad her life while exploring the unforgiving elements of the Arctic North. Now, Nomad doing, well, Nomad things, she was out alone, as she always was, except something happened that nearly killed her. We don't get a ton of details on what went wrong that led to all of this, but we do find out how she was saved. Now, for the longest time in Nomad's lore, we believe that Nomad saved herself from the accident. But in fact, it was the new operator coming to Team Rainbow, Thunderbird, that actually saved her. Now, at the time of the recording for this video, Thunderbird has not been released just yet. She's been in the test server, but not officially released. But we do get a quick lore story on how Thunderbird saved Nomad. Somehow, she was able to get Nomad's call for help and locate her. Now, I'm sure things were going really bad for Nomad, because you get the story that Nomad's right middle and ring finger on her right hand was frostbitten so bad that they needed to be cut off. Now, I'm still unsure if Nomad was the one that cut off her own fingers. Like, that would be brutal if it was her that did that, or if it was Thunderbird that had to cut them off. Regardless, that would have really sucked. But Thunderbird located her and brought her back to civilization and to probably seek medical treatment in, I'm assuming, her rescue helicopter we see in her trailer. Now, fun fact, Nomad is pretty much the sole reason why Thunderbird will be the newest operator added to the roster of Team Rainbow. Alright, so we don't get any real information on how Nomad joined Team Rainbow herself though, like it just jumps right into the psychological report completed by Harry, the 6th of Team Rainbow. Now, Harry talks about how Sanaa is constantly on the move, which is why her call sign is Nomad, and says that how Nomad is a journalist even though she lost a few of her fingers. Fun fact, even though Nomad is left-handed, in the Operation Win Bastion main menu screen, we see Nomad write with her right hand as well. So bam! Nomad is ambidextrous. That's pretty cool. Harry also thinks that Nomad was so eager to travel and explore as a kid because she was likely accused of being soft in her childhood due to her wealthy upbringing. And she traveled around the world to help disprove that. Something I found quite interesting while researching for this video is Harry saying that he first heard about Nomad a while ago, way before the psychological evaluation and profile, when reading a research paper about military fitness assessments. So Nomad survivalist situations have made it as search and rescue training material. Cool. Nomad doesn't really like talking about her achievements though, Harry noticed, and he gets the feeling that it makes her less proud of it when she has to talk about them. Not really sure why, but he kind of gets that vibe from her. Nonetheless, he is still impressed that she graduated from Kaid's fortress and is interested in the fact that Kaid and Nomad will be performing operations together alongside each other on Team Rainbow as equals, rather than before with Kaid being the master and Nomad being the learner. Harry says that while Nomad was on her expeditions, she has encountered vast numbers of secluded cultures like the Maasai in Kenya and the Nenets of the Siberian regions as well. Also, she brings up the fact that Nomad says she wants to be the first woman in the world to cross Antarctica alone on foot. The experiences and personality of Nomad meshes really well with Frost on Team Rainbow, so it's no wonder that they're actually pretty good friends and hang out quite a lot. Like, Frost's elite skin basically is a survivalist as well. I'm pretty sure that Nomad and Frost at probably at one point or another have gone on expeditions or gone to rural areas together just to see, well, if they can survive. Harry finishes the evaluation talking about how her conquering Antarctica and says, quote, "I have no doubt she can accomplish that, but I hope it doesn't cost her more appendages. I privately worry that she considers such injuries a badge of honor and proof that she isn't some spoiled rich girl," end quote. Signed, Dr. Harishva Harry Pandey, director of Team Rainbow. Now moving on, let's talk about the evaluation of Nomad's air jabs as we start to wrap up today's video. Eliza Cohen, or better known to us as Ash, was actually the operator that completed the evaluation herself. Now, quote, several operators have grown accustomed to calling Nomad's grenades air jabs. Sophia coins the term. Nomad doesn't seem to mind saying Camistigal, oh, whatever that means. I'm gonna have to look that up. Moving on, once it's launched from the custom rifle attachment, the repulsion grenade can stick to a wall, effectively becoming a trap. No matter its location, there's a short delay to allow for chemical adhesion before the air jab is considered active. The pushback grenade is then ready and can explode when an enemy is within range. The proprietary adhesive compound, or goo, allows the grenade's body to stick to any surface. These air jabs are non-lethal, but they still pack a punch, pushing back and disorienting enemies who got caught in the blast radius. Nomad had the idea for the modified launcher and the repulsion grenades following one of her expeditions. She prototyped the attachment herself until Mr. El Maktoub, Nomad's father and former governor, was able to pull some strings and get some of the country's researchers and engineers to work on the adhesive compound and repulsion technology. The non-lethal aspect of this gadget allows for a wide range of applications, even outside the military. But Nomad remains the sole user of these air jabs, as the grenades themselves are too expensive to mass produce. I thought that's pretty funny while reading this. So yeah, any of you Nomad mains out here, anybody who plays Nomad, make sure you use her air jabs wisely and don't just shoot them willy-nilly, because apparently these air jabs are really expensive. So just think of it as about, like, I don't know, every air jab costing, I don't know, let's just say $1,000. So you know, make sure you use those air jabs wisely, everybody. Finishing up the evaluation, Ash says, I didn't think a launcher this compact could shoot grenades that release that much pressure. However, I wouldn't compare them to my M120 CREN or my breaching rounds. Each of our gadgets serve a different purpose. Signed, Specialist Eliza Ash Cohen. Well guys, with no appearances in any cinematics or comics, I think we're all wrapped up with Nomad's lore story. I really hope you guys enjoyed this Nomad Operator lore video. Now, if you did, make sure to check out the other Operator lore videos in the lore playlist. Link for that will be in the description below. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to notifications if you're new. Now, with all that being said, Jeppy!